The Ironton City Council meeting of September 11th, 2025. Before we get started, I would like to recognize that today is September 11th and that we never forget what happened to our country on September 11th, and pause for a moment of silence before our invocation tonight is to be brought to us by Robbie Brown from Behope Church, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. And if everyone wouldn't mind having a silent moment of reflection for 9/11. Thank you. May we never forget.
Thanks, Greg. God, we come to you today, and God, we thank you for this beautiful evening that you've blessed us with. And God, as Greg mentioned, God, our country we recognize is heavy right now. We're heavy as we remember 9/11. We're heavy as we remember another school shooting that just happened this week, and the assassination of a political figure this week as well. And God, we recognize more than ever the need for you in our country. And God, we just pray that your Spirit would bring healing to the division that our country faces. And God, that this would be a season in our country's history where we turn back to you, where we seek your face. And God, where your Spirit has the freedom to reign in our lives. God, to change us and transform us from the inside out so that we can live out the Jesus way. God, we love you so much. God, we pray for your guidance and your wisdom in tonight's meeting. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
Brown.
Here.
Cleary.
Here.
Haney.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Hawk. Klein.
Here.
Gary.
Mr. Hawk said he would not be here tonight, had a prior commitment. Next is the approval of minutes for our regular council meeting minutes of August 28th, 2025, and the strategic planning committee meeting minutes of August 28th, 2025. Are there any errors, omissions, additions to those minutes? Hearing none, those meeting minutes will stand as approved. Next, I would like to motion to deviate from the normal agenda and do communications first with a short miscellaneous and then resume the normal agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Haney.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Communications, I received a letter from Councilman Perry dated Wednesday, September 10th, that he would, with a heavy heart, like to resign effective immediately due to a permanent conflict with availability at work moving forward. I'd like to submit this to the record.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Haney.
Aye.
Harvey. Klein.
Aye.
Nay.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mike Pierce to fill the vacant city council seat set to expire December 1st, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Haney.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Mr. Pierce? Your term is to expire December 1st of this year, so thank you for filling in for 6 meetings. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Brigham is going to swear you in.
Okay.
Robbie had to run and get a Bible.
All right, if you'll raise your right hand. I, Mike Pierce,
I, Mike Pierce,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold
that I will uphold
and support the constitutions of the United States of America,
that I will uphold and support the state of Ohio, the city of Ironton,
that I will not make or authorize
that I will not make or authorize
the expenditure of public funds
the expenditure of public funds
otherwise
otherwise
than for adequate consideration
and efficient service
to the City of Ironton, Ohio.
to the City of Ironton, Ohio.
That I will faithfully discharge the duties
That I will faithfully discharge the duties
of a member of council of the City of Ironton, Ohio.
of the member of council of the City of Ironton, Ohio.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Pierce. Oh, you That's your same exact signature.
It is. I've got broken in just right.
Welcome back.
One order of business and miscellaneous is to replace Mr. Perry on 2 committees as well. Mr. Perry was on industrial and commercial. So Mr. Pierce, you're now on the industrial and commercial committee. Bob, you're the chair of that because Mr. Perry was. That also includes you, Mr. Brown. And then the Public Utilities Committee, Mr. Perry was a member with myself and Mr. Haney, so now you're on that as well. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for serving. Sure. No, I'm not going to. Back to our normal agenda is audience participation, and with us this evening we have 2 invited guests. First is Tracy Roach from our tax office, and Mr. Elam would like to accompany Tracy to speak as a council. You're worried about this. John's the only one that bites.
All right. Thank you all for having me tonight. My name is Tracy Roach, and I came to the tax department in October of 2023. This is Amy Brown, and she joined me last September. When I was hired into the tax department, John encouraged me to get all the training I could get, and he sent me to Columbus the past 2 years for a tax seminar. And Amy was able to join me this past year. Before we went, we did realize how outdated our current software is, and it actually no longer takes updates. So we're kind of in a pickle there. So one of our goals in going to this tax seminar was to meet several people and see what kind of software that they use. We found that the majority of the tax administrators use a system called MITS, which is Municipal Income Tax Solutions. And that seems to be very effective for all of them. But we did meet one lady in particular. Her name was Leanne Helms from St. Bernard, Ohio. She has just been a wealth of knowledge for us. When we came back from the training, we told John all about everything we had learned, and he wanted us to go and observe her and the office and just see how everything rolled there. So we went, spent 2 days with her, and we found out real quick that that software is much more advanced in keeping track of non-filers and delinquencies. It actually goes in steps to lead up to the court process, so it would actually help just keep everything aligned there, as well as providing assessments for our non-filers. So that's just people that do not bring us their documents to file, or maybe ignore all of the correspondence that we send them, so that way we'd be able to do assessments. I did want to talk to Nate about maybe adding some legislation to our ordinance for that, because I think we need to add a little bit in order to be able to do those assessments. So this software is also address driven, so it will take a little bit to import all the city addresses, but once we do expect a lot more revenue for the city, as well as being able to enforce the tax code much better. The software does have different modules with it. So the budgeted amount is for the basic system, as well as the conversion of our system right now, in order to get everything over that we currently have. But there are other modules that we can add in the future. So I'm hoping that we can maybe budget that maybe annually to add on. It would give us more modernization for the residents, maybe e-file, e-pay, we've kind of got to get up on the times here. So that would help out a lot as well. With the addresses, I did want to bring up one thing. John had mentioned that you all had talked a little bit about a mandatory landlord registration. That would really help us in the tax department. We would be willing to take care of all of that. We would have registration forms for the landlords. And how that would help is when they give us their tenant information. Actually, I've also talked to Nate about the legislation for this because we do need this in the tax ordinance to be able to do this. But we would have the tenant's information to be able to send them correspondence to make sure they are filing with us as well. Because we find that a lot of times the landlord keeps maybe everything in their name. And if that tenant isn't, say, filing a federal return or they don't show up on any of our documents, then they're all flying under the radar. So we just want to make sure that everybody is, doing their due diligence around here, really. So that would help us a lot, as well as there's a lot of landlords that do not live in the city who have property here that they're also not paying their tax. So, it's all just to enforce the tax code and just work our whole department more effectively. So,
Tracy, does the municipal court have to do anything with their software or any interface with them?
no, we would still go like the same steps. It's just that this software would be more streamlined to where it would help us stay a little bit more organized with the delinquencies. So we would still go through the process, either through the court system, through collections, or even the attorney general is what we're looking at. So.
Chris?
Quick question, well, two statements, I guess. Would this have the ability to accept like registration fees, type, is that a facet that we can add on? Like, would that be like an add-on that we could put on there?
We're looking at
what we're talking
we're
about.
looking at a different software for that is through Invoice Cloud.
Okay.
And with some of the things that we've been working on now with audits, et cetera, we had that discussion earlier this week in the office, so that will be forthcoming.
So, okay.
That's what we're looking for that to happen.
Because if we're going to do this, I'd like to go ahead, because we've talked about it before with just rec league registration stuff,
Right.
like pickleball tournament registration,
Absolutely.
Things like that. Well, I'd like to just one fell swoop get it done. Also, Nate, I'll get with you regarding the residential rental, and we can kind of tweak whatever we need.
That was going to be my question was, I know you shadowed St. Bernard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had some legislation
Yes.
that they had passed for enforcement.
Yes.
Is there any way we could get a copy of what they do, and can we share that with us and bring them to possibly mimic what they do just to be more effective?
I actually already have that, and I've got it typed up actually to go with our city. So I just need.
So you have everything typed and proposed?
Yes.
Everything's ready to go?
Yes.
Okay.
I just need a few things added as far as how it will go with our current ordinance. So I have a sample for you. I was just going to give that to you, and you can get with Brigham on how y'all need to tweak that. But I do already have a copy.
Do you have enough for everybody right now?
Well, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But
we can email it.
we
to
can
you.
definitely,
Yeah,
yes.
email and
I kind of wanted you to proofread it and just see,
Oh, no.
and then I know that, well, I know.
Brigham's the proofreader.
Okay, Brigham, I need you to proofread it, okay? And then we'll get it.
Yeah.
How it needs to add in the ordinance
Yes.
currently.
Yes.
Yes.
But just copy all this in and then,
Mr. Pierce?
Tracy, this may not be something you can answer, but do you have any idea how much income, additional income we might receive once this system is fully implemented?
So I can't really project a number right this moment, but I will tell you in St. Bernard, she said it up in like $1 million. And I'm saying if we can get all of the people who do not file right now, I wish you all could see like our day of like just delinquent people that we're trying to work with and things. Like if we could get everybody on board of paying and filing, along with landlords and businesses, like if everybody was just doing, you know.
You think it'd be realistic to say
Yes,
half of that?
it is. I think so. And for this investment, I do believe that our return is going to be significant, for sure.
That would be year over year.
May I add two things?
Yes.
The first one is, one of the reasons that this software became so critical for us now is that our old financial software system, which you've heard me reference, eGov. Well, when we went on to VIP, Software Solutions did not upgrade an income tax module. So it's still on the old system that we have to interface. They no longer update anything on that income tax system, the old one and the one that they are currently using. So this will put us on the front edge of our software and how we'll be able to use it. I'd also like to say that this year, these girls, Amy and Tracy, have collected nearly $56,000 in delinquent income tax. So they're doing a great job.
Thank you.
We're going to do our best to take a look at that proposed legislation and see and move that in that direction. What's the timeline look like for the upgrade for the software and the implementation of that? Do you have a timeline?
As soon as I can get an okay, I can contact Kim. I've been working with Kim for MITS, and they have someone that's literally going to be at my beck and call, like to walk through everything. They're already going to have my letters, all in the system that I need. So,
but you have my support on that, and then I also want to say thank you. You know, you guys, I can see when I walk through to aggravate John, but then I can aggravate you guys. But I know you guys are doing a great job, and I know it's a thankless job, especially when you're working in income tax. But thank you very much. I appreciate your efforts, and you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. We'll try to keep our end of it, and like I said, I'm going to get for that software.
I would also like to say that this is under bid limit and that it is already in the budget. There will not be a budget amendment for it. So she wanted to come in here and give you all an update on what the thought process is and how it's going to benefit the city, and we'll get that ordered.
Thank you.
Thanks you guys for doing that.
thank
Yeah,
you
thank you,
all.
Tracy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Next is Mark Hollinger with Straight Line, formerly Aspen, regarding our energy aggregation.
Long time no see. Good to be back. I work with the city, and Marta can attest to this. I called her from probably about July of 2011 and called her about every month until I was able to get an audience with Rich. And initially we worked on the city's meters, the wastewater treatment plant, water treatment plant, street lights. And the city saved, if I recall, it was upwards of about $90,000 making that switch to third-party suppliers. So then in the aftermath of that, of course, we set up the aggregation program, which went to vote back in 2015. We got it implemented towards the end of 2016, and we managed that until my departure. So I kind of had to sit in the penalty box for a little while because of contractual obligations, but as that went away, I started Straight Line Energy Consultants, basically doing the same thing. My agreements are direct with the suppliers. I don't have somebody as a conduit in between, and that allows me to charge lower fees and margins and make my own decisions without the pressure of somebody wanting continuous contracts that aren't good for customers. Because as that cold snap unfolded in Texas 4 years ago, 2021, there was a lag to the market, and the markets got hit, and at some point the market succeeded what the utility was going to pay. And I was telling my customers, you need to go back to utility for a bit until the markets recover. There'll be a little adjustment. But that was the best advice, because people were not going to save with third-party supplier. And so that didn't keep me in good graces, and frankly, I didn't care. So that's why things happen the way they do, and I'm glad to be on the outside enjoying it on my own. So with that, your natural gas agreement expired back in April. The price on that was 0.262 per CCF. The trick now is apples to apples. In that 0.62, there was an adder. That adder was $1.66. So it made the gas portion of it 4.5 cents, give or take. That adder going into this winter's point is 0.166 before. I'm talking in dollars, I need to go back to cents. It's basically double, 0.325. So you're looking at gas, be able to get below the 0.62 where you were before is really hard, because there was an additional 0.16 in there as well. So energy's going up. The net effect for a household on that extra adder is about $300 a winter. No, let me rephrase that. An additional $150 over the 150 adder before. 10 years ago, that adder was like 0.78, which is low. So we see that going up. Same on the electric. Capacity rates are about 3 pennies. That's about $300 average household a year. So $25 a month. So you can see these things. So capacity is gauged by how you use your energy. So if in the hottest days of the summer, you have your air conditioning cranked up, and if you took 100 households and your usage was 10% of all that usage across, that's going to reflect in your bill. So it's kind of adjusting. And so you can see with these data centers being built all over the place, we're paying for that infrastructure already. Unfortunately, PUCO last week, the data centers were pushing back on the rates that they were going to pay, and they wanted them to be lower. And PUCO said, no, it will not be lower. Actually, we're going to require you, even if you bail out, to pay 85% of what you were expected to use. So that's good for we, the customers, because we're already paying for that in the capacity piece, because we're kind of building and supporting that infrastructure for that to be built. So, so rates are on the jump.
What is our current kilowatt hour?
Your current rate is 7.64 cents. The utility and the fiscal year for capacity started in July. So prior to July, the April-May rate from the utility was 7.32 cents. That rate is now 10.52 cents. So you can see the impact that capacity is having. So obviously we want to get the aggregation rate below that, so your residents can obviously save over and have some stability there. Just trying to think. I have some notes here. I'm not sure I caught everything. Continue to handle the city's filings. Certificate filings will come up next year. They both expire in next November, so we'll make sure those get filed in advance. No cost to the city. If there are any fees, we'll make sure that suppliers always reimburse the city for that stuff. So handle that. Your annual reports, just like before, pretty much seamless, and really that's it. Nothing too fancy. Just doing what I did before, just kind of on the outside.
So, Mark, what is your request from us for legislation to change carriers to the or change the aggregation broker?
Yeah.
Do we need to do that? Is that
We put out an RFQ
okay.
for everybody to
Okay.
And the kicker there would be,
And then since I imagine since we're expired, you guys are just looking to try to hit it when it's the lowest that you see it and lock it in?
yeah,
Okay.
and like I told Sam before, I don't look to just butt them up against each other. It needs to be, trying to get some timing. And sometimes, especially with gas, folks, and I don't use much other than for, hot water, and I have a gas oven. In the summer, there's no reason to butt contracts against each other if the market's elevated, get it to drop.
Thank you.
Currently, Mark, and when you were here before, we received a rebate
Yep.
for
That was the one thing I missed. Yeah.
for participating. Is that something that would currently
Still the same.
sit on the table?
Yep. Yeah, still do that.
Is there a dollar? Is there a dollar amount already, or is that something you put in the RFP?
We usually tied it to participation.
Okay.
That makes it easier on the supplier, because if you fix an amount and participation is lower, it makes the suppliers kind of jumpy for the next term. So we want to make sure. So it's basically volumetric. So as the residents participate, then there's basically an adder in there that works as a grant to the city.
And is there a target participation rate you have for that, or?
I think there's been on the electric. My recollection is you had about 1,800 households using it, and so you were basically getting about $1 a house, about $10 a house here, on average. So, right, John, right? You get about $2,000 a month ish,
Yes.
right around there. Yeah.
Mark, on our end, I think probably everyone's shared in this pain. On our end, the communication piece to our residents was very confusing. And so like a plain language mailer, perhaps, that says, this isn't a scam, first of all.
Right.
This is something that you all voted in 2015.
Right.
You combine your efforts from the city, all these collective customers together to get a reduced rate, and in turn, we turn around and give a little bit of money back for community improvement to the city of Ironton. Something very plain language, I think, would help, Chris.
Is there any way you can, because Craig can attest, I've just went through this multiple times. Is there any way you can send out something in that letter that shows what your bill would look like if you're not on the aggregation program, and then what your bill would look like if you are on the aggregation program, and then kind of show like a true dollar amount of what you're saving at because I know right now the energy's at 10 cents a
Right.
kilowatt hour, and we're at like
764 headed in that direction.
Right. So I knew there was, on this specific customer's bill, it's like $53 saving, but he thought he was getting charged an additional $138, and I was trying to say, you actually saved $53
Right.
by being on this aggregation program.
Yeah, to Chris's point, they think they're getting charged twice because they see that.
It's a separate line item. It's their generation fee or whatever.
Right.
Whatever
So you have the delivery, which is the utility.
Yeah.
And then the generation, sometimes it's the utility if they haven't switched, but
Right.
generation if they've gone to a third-party supplier.
It's hard
If
for us to explain to somebody when they are having their mind that like.
And my only pause is I see where you're coming from, and I agree that there's something we could probably do about it. I don't know that I can do it in the letter that comes from the supplier, because PUCO has some regulations on what goes out and has to be filed in advance. If I can work with the suppliers to see that we can get that in and check out your bill. And the other danger right now that I'm really worried about, especially on the residential side, is because of capacity, there are suppliers that can strip out capacity, make that go through the utility part of the bill, and then it makes it look like you're getting this fantastic rate. But what they haven't told you is they've stripped out 3 cents that you're still paying. And I'm really worried about that, because if residents are going and getting mailers or seeing stuff on social media, if they don't read the fine print to see what's all included, they're gonna get on the short end of. But I can check with the suppliers, see that we can include that in that correspondence, so that because as we do this, when the city agrees to the terms of the new deal, we have to file with PUCO 10 days before that letter goes out, and PUCO has to approve it. So it's kind of bland because they kept it pretty simple. But if we introduce something new, I'll see if we can work on getting it to PUCO to see if they'd approve it, so that
I don't think you really have to do that effort. If you want to just send it to us, including the mayor.
Right.
I think we can put it out on social media, but I think we also have the ability to include it in our utility bills and send it out. So,
and I know a few years ago, one of the things we did, we had a poster there at the entranceway to the mayor's office that had a QR code, so that people would walk up with their phone and be able to just go right to your page and see, on the electric, here's what you have, questions, reach out.
Yeah, perfect.
I appreciate it.
Oh, Robbie,
So just a couple questions
Sure.
to follow up on that. In this, I don't know, it's maybe not attainable, but is there any guarantee that the price per kilowatt or price per CCF will be no more than the standard choice offer?
If I do my job, yes. I think the only thing, and this is where we'd be cautious, is it's dicey to try to do a long-term agreement right now just because of the volatility. So I would probably just stick to likely one-year agreements, unless, now if the gas market gets down to $1 something again, and if I can pick up the phone and talk to the supplier and say, what can we get for a future deal? Then we'll do that, because we know, when it gets down to $1.50 or so, 0.15, in your instance, I think in MCFs instead of CCFs, so you have to catch me on that stuff. But when it gets down to that realm, there's pretty much a guarantee that, especially during the winter when the NYMEX averages 450 or so, 325 for the last 4 winters, 425 the last 4 winters, I think it was, that we're in pretty good shape, that there, in all likelihood, it's not going to drop below that, and residents are going to save it. Because under your previous gas agreement that just expired, my replacement successor locked you in on a longer term when the market was elevated, and it resulted in net negative for the residents. And no fault of yours. It's again, it's that desire to butt contracts up against each other without regard for what is the market really doing, and is it really good for the residents. So, you have another question?
Well, second question, but just to follow up on that, yeah, that's helpful. I think because of that, I think there's a little bit of a sour taste in some of the residents' mouths on that, and especially when you get into situations with rebates, it gives this appearance that the city might be making decisions that are harmful for residents but beneficial for the city.
Right.
When we know that this can be a win-win, but I didn't know what protections there could be
Right.
to ensure that, hey, there's no way for you to lose on this as a resident, is what I'm curious about. And then my next question, I guess, is related to, is this an opt-in or an opt-out type of situation?
It's an opt-out. If you didn't opt in, it's hard to get the better rates, because you can't tell what the participation is going to be, and then the suppliers look at it from a risk perspective of adverse selection. Are we getting the worst potential risks? Just somebody that has everything wide open all day, because it blends. When you have that mass and buying power, it all blends out. So,
Robbie, that opt-out was in the ballot language, so that was part of what everyone voted on.
yeah, and it gets tricky, because you have residents that get it, and you have other residents that feel like it's an overreach, and it's just, and I've always said, and I ran into one in township up in Northeast Ohio, the guy's like, I didn't want to be in this. Trustees thrust me in this. He'd been in it for several years and didn't even know it. And what's sad is, or good, was he was actually saving. He just felt like it was an overstep, and so was insulted by that, and that just shut everything out. So that's fun.
Mike?
Newcomer.
Or just, how is the communication between the residents and the company? If they want to opt out, they can make a phone call. Is it pretty streamlined? Because I've heard instances where they couldn't get a hold, they were very frustrated, the more aggravated they get when they have to wait long periods of time.
Right. Oh, sure.
How's the communication?
I would say very good. I think one of the things you may have run into this with the electric this last time, you have a supplier that's new to aggregation. So I don't know if they were as, and a very good company. I just don't know from a customer service standpoint if maybe they had geared themselves towards this crush, because when you start signing up communities like this, you start getting 1,800 accounts in a hurry. And then when you drop a bunch of mail and people are confused, they start calling in a hurry. So you see, as that mail gets dropped, you see a lot of activity on phone calls and stuff. And then it taper off until you get to the next agreement. But
Right.
and I know I came down in January because there was some confusion in the finance department because some of the city's meters had gotten switched into the aggregation. And the commercial rates are better than residential because commercial tends to be more efficient. So it was actually going to be a really bad thing because there was a huge disparity in rates. So for whatever reason, when that happens, I usually know about that in advance, and I just pick up the phone and say, hey, you're going to get correspondence, just ignore it from so-and-so because this has already been handled and I know why. And it happens where you have meters that accidentally get switched or shouldn't have been switched. That happens, but always work to just pick up the phone and just take care of it. So
Even if they have some sort of setup where they can say, leave your name and number and we'll contact you within 2 days or
right.
something. So they can handle that volume.
Yeah, most of the other suppliers that have done it for a long time have systems in place and is very, very good. And again, I think Direct Energy, just being devil's advocate, they've just entered that market in the last couple of years, and I think there's probably an adjustment taking place of, this is going to be a little more hands-on with end users than we're used to. And I can always be the first line of defense too. So if they happen to call Terry, Terry will call me, email me, and say, hey, can you reach out and get this handled? And I'll make sure it gets done.
Yeah, to that point, I fought our current brokers quite a bit and even held out signing the agreement because they wouldn't put it in the language that they were going to be the contact point, that it would be the mayor's office. Even though we know people are going to call us either way, but I know when Mark was formerly there, it was a much easier process to where he could explain it rather than us having to.
Right. Well, and they didn't like what I was doing, and I'm like, it has to be done because in that previous life, most everybody was working on the commercial and industrial side, so it was pretty much things got done, aligned. There wasn't a lot of side work. This is so much different because you're working more with end users, and suddenly you have 1,800 or more accounts, and the phone starts ringing. And so, to me, it's just part of the job. It's what I get paid to do, and it's really not that hard. It's just the way I'm wired.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Nice to see you again.
Appreciate it.
See you again.
Silver hair.
Next is audience participation. If you'd like to address Ironton City Council, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to do so.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name's George McCalvin. I live at 1745 Phillip Street. I just want to touch on a couple of things that I've noticed since school has started down on Thomas Street, going from McPherson to Thomas. There's an abundant amount of kids that have to walk on that street. There's no sidewalks. We have got pedestrians that are coming up and down that street flying. My concern is one of those kids could get injured. Is there any way that we could get some speed bumps put on Thomas from McPherson down to the school?
I don't want you to think that that we can't answer that question for you, because it's a day-to-day operation, so it would have to come from the street department and the mayor, so we can't give you a definitive answer. But your concern has been heard.
I was going to ask Kevin, he stepped out, but the only thing I could see if it were an issue would be because of the having to direct the water for the storm system. But other than that, it makes sense to do something.
Well, the speed bumps wouldn't have to go from curb to curb. You could leave access for the water.
I'll
But
check with him on that.
right now, it is a problem. I live in that area. I have, as you all know, I'm running for city council, and I have spoke to the residents down there mainly about everybody on Thomas Street, and they are scared to death if one of their kids is going to get killed. So I think it's something we definitely need to adjust. We need to look at it strong. So one more concern I got, with a show of hands, could the council members show me how many people that have been down in the Sedgwick Meadows area looking at the new construction lately?
Today down there.
Pardon?
I live there.
Okay. Have you noticed the reseeding that they've started to do? I checked today in various different places. All they have done, I don't have the pictures with me because I couldn't get them developed, but they have not even picked up the clumps of concrete, the gravel, the boards, sticks and stuff that they put in there. All they did, they never even scratched up the dirt in a lot of places. They threw some seed down and they threw some straw. That grass is not going to grow. We don't have rain for the next 10 days, forecasted. So we need to have eyes, and I think it lays a lot on you guys, and especially this gentleman, that we need to get somebody down there to check their work every day. I know it's hard to do. I know all of you guys got jobs. I understand that. But something has got to be done. It's a mess right now. They're wasting money like it's no tomorrow. I mean, it's a shambles. You guys, I don't have to sit there and tell you guys, you know that. But we need to do something about it. And one more question. How many contracts? We've got 10 contracts with them, am I correct? Approximately three?
Three.
Are any of them complete?
They're in the substantial completion phase, which you can explain what that means.
Yeah, so when they get to a point where a project is operational, for example, the roads are paved, that's considered substantially complete. The pump station is still being finalized, the electrical. The sanitary, the third contract's that sanitary and lift station in the levee, that's operational now. So that 1 and 3 are substantially complete, but that does not mean that they're finished. For example, the street project, we've given them multiple lists of punch list items that need to be addressed, and we've not even done a formal walkthrough with them yet to develop the full punch list. So they're going to be some time yet finalizing, a crack curb here or that sort of thing. And the seeding and mulching is something that, the first time they tried to start doing that was when we had that heat wave. Then we had a gully washer. So they're going to have to come back and revisit that multiple times, which is not unusual in a project of this size until, that is suitable. So we retain a percentage of their contract amount in retainage until such time as the city and everyone's satisfied with that final product.
Is there any way that we can help them along if we see problems? There's a lot of eyes down there. Have I got another few seconds?
Time's up. But I want to address a couple things for you.
Okay.
The city council has no role except funding that. Now, you suggested that we go down there and keep an eye on it. I would say everyone has done that, but for us to tell the mayor or the city engineer or even the contractor to do something, we could be removed from office by charter. Because our role is not the day-to-day operation, and once we fund that project, it's out of our hands, and if we do that and he feels like we're overriding his authority, he can motion for us to be removed from office, and he would be right by our charter.
I'm not asking council to address them personally. I didn't say that. What we need to do is let them be aware of what they're doing. I feel that that's not happening. The residents down there, a lot of them, not all of them, but most of them feel that that's not happening. They would like to see you guys down there. If it's just to walk down one street, they would feel so much better because they know they could put a little bit of confidence back. So, appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'm there every day.
Mary Ann Tessie, I'm here about 1606 Karen Street. Do you want to see the pictures? This is the second drain that was put in after we had that rain. As you can see, you can't find the drain. This is my neighbor's drain, who's at least an inch off of the ground.
Did they tell you the drain was there?
Oh, yeah, it's there. I moved all the stuff out of it so that when I was trying to power wash the dirt off of it, it would go down. But that's what it looked like when I went down there after we had that rain. And when he was talking about the rocks and stuff, I've got pictures, and I've shared with Mr. Klein, of the rocks that they never put any rock or dirt in my yard this time. They didn't put any, I wouldn't let them put any of their weed seed down. So the rocks that I dug up, we'll pass those around. The rocks I dug up was from the first time they put down. I have my 81-year-old neighbor out there digging up the rock that they dumped in her yard this last time, and he's exactly right. They just put a bunch of hay over it so you can't see it. And you don't get any grass. You get weeds, but you don't get any grass. So he's definitely correct. And I think it's interesting on Orchard, I guess you saw the pictures of where we had this last water. You saw it draining down. I have that problem at 1606 Karen Street. Mine's not as steep as that, but when you have a 10% rise and a 6% rise, it's at an angle. That's exactly what I have. I don't know if I'll ever get any grass in there because the grass seed's just going to go down to the sidewalk and float on by. But, so I had to pay somebody so I worked over 2 hours to clean up the rock. I called, there was 3 people working for Allards down there. They said they didn't have a truck. They had a more important job on Route 217. So I called the city. I called Terry. She called Mike. I called Mike myself. He didn't have a truck. So I had to pay somebody to haul this rock off, which I don't think I should have had to do that. And I think you've probably already seen this, but as they were going along fixing the concrete, they dumped a bunch of concrete. I wasn't there, but when we got home, right where we parked, there was a pile of concrete dust on your brand new asphalt right in front of my house. And I had to go down there and I told them, clean it up or I'm going to put water on it and then you can explain to the city while you're scrubbing up this concrete. They came down with a little brush and went with water and shook it off with their foot, which I have on camera. That's how they cleaned it up. I have a stain this big in front of my house. It's concrete, just so that you all know. Let's give them another contract. Let's give Allards another contract because this is getting really ridiculous. And like I said, I'm here about my water problem. I've been coming for over a year, and I want to set something straight. The last time I was here, I mentioned Mr. Haney getting a new driveway. And I said in correspondence, Mr. Haney, you wrote to me that after speaking with Kevin, John, and Sam, there was somebody that watched that online, and somebody behind me said no. Well, right here's the email if anybody wants to read it. This is what you said to me. You got a new driveway. I hope it's working out for you. I'm still trying to get mine fixed. And I'm going to continue to come and complain about it until you all do something about it. And I understand what you're going to say. Well, it's not us, it's the mayor. Well,
What was your point in bringing that up again?
You weren't here last week, and I brought it up, and they said something about, well, you weren't here about it. And I said, well, I spoke to you about your driveway, and you told me, Kevin, and someone behind me said, no.
As much as...
They said no, and someone down in the valley said, well, somebody behind you said no. And I said, I got the email.
Said what?
I don't know, but I guess maybe you didn't talk to Kevin, Sam, or whatever, I don't know.
And I told him, I said, I hope all these other
Yes.
issues are being fixed.
But I just wanted to clear that up. Yes. Yes, you did. But I just wanted to clear up that we spoke about that.
I did speak to him.
Because I think it was Mr. Harvey said, well, you weren't here. And I said, well, I just wanted to, straighten that out. That we did have a conversation before the meeting last
We did, and I said exactly, I hope other issues are getting fixed.
Yeah.
Rather than mine, correct?
Yeah, but you got a brand new driveway and I don't. Well, I still got water on mine.
Miss Tessie, the alarm didn't go off, but it did on my phone. Wrap it up.
Okay. One other thing, on that new software they were talking about, just out of curiosity, is how often do they update that, and do they charge extra for those updates? I know where I worked, we had issues with that happening. And I guess I want to ask, since Kevin's here, is there going to be anything done about my driveway, my sidewalk, my water problem? I'll put it on the mayor and the county.
I'll need to address. So yes, as I indicated, there is an ongoing punch list of items, and I got the recent video that you sent me, and that is back on the punch list to make sure that we do what we can within the public right of way to make sure that is draining from the public right of way to the street as it has.
I hope we're not putting a third yard drain in.
That is not been discussed.
Because then I'm going to have to start charging for labor to go clean them out. Thank you.
Moving on to communications, we already addressed. Reports, there are none. Ordinances, if the clerk could please give ordinance 2537 first reading by title.
Amending the permanent operating budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2025, and declaring an emergency first reading.
Make the motion to suspend the rules of ordinance 2537, give it a second first reading by title only.
Nate.
Second the motion, I'd also like to note that it received favorable recommendation from the finance committee tonight.
Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
The rules have been suspended to give ordinance 2537 second and third reading by title only. If the clerk should please give those second and third reading by title.
Amending the permanent operating budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency second reading. Amending the permanent operating budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency third reading.
Bob.
Make the motion to adopt 2537.
Chris.
Second.
Roll call.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Pierce.
Aye. Next is ordinance 2538. If the clerk could please give that first reading by title only.
Authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Cooper's Glass and declaring an emergency first reading.
Chris.
Discussion. There's been some correspondence emailed. Are we?
Yeah, so that's why I said just ask me again. But we talked about it in finance, and we're waiting on some samples. Obviously, we want to see exactly what we are buying before I make the final deal. But it is significantly the lowest bid, and it's our intention to go with it. But when I asked over the correspondence about making it lowest best bid, it was you gave us the answer, bringing that need to be the lowest.
Yeah, so the lowest best bid is Cooper's. If, when you do your due diligence, it is a inferior window and it's not what we specifically put in the bid package, and at that point, I think we need to revisit it.
And I responded saying, I think, wouldn't I have to have you authorize me to contract with them though? Otherwise,
Yes.
normally. So I think what we're used to is you authorize me to accept bids prior to lowest bid. That we come in and ask for the contract on it, whereas we're doing kind of both right now.
Right.
And so,
Because
yeah,
this-
it's our intention to go with this one. We just want to see that we're, it's due diligence that we need to.
So I think if you may not want to suspend the rules, let him have time to do that. If he comes back in 2 weeks or 4 weeks and says, these are inferior windows, then I think we need to relook at the next bid and make sure that we were pretty specific in the type of windows and really the exact windows that we were wanting in the bid package.
So I reviewed them, and there's with someone who was an expert in this before in their past life, and the high bid. Obviously, we were familiar with that supplier. It's a well-known supplier, high-end window. This supplier, we've not very familiar with. Kind of just wanted to make sure.
So that would be like,
I'm good, that's what I was, just want to clarify, I'm good with,
Writing it out.
yep.
Any others? The clerk could please give ordinance 2539 first reading by title.
Establishing fee to install sewer tap and declaring an emergency, first reading.
Make mention that received favorable recommendation by Public Utilities tonight. The clerk could please give ordinance 2540 first reading by title.
Authorizing the mayor to enter into a professional services contract with Arcadis for design and construct of the Ironton wastewater treatment plant improvements, digester, treatment pillar, and disinfection project, and declaring an emergency, first reading.
Chris.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give ordinance 2540 second and third reading by title only.
Nate.
No?
We discussed in the finance committee, I'd like to read some additional time that our finances to see if we can pay it out of pocket instead of financing, and see if we got a second reading, and we're going to do another finance committee meeting or the second meeting in September.
All right.
Rescind his motion. Moving on to resolutions, there are none, and I wanted to mention that ordinance 2536 and the resolution that accompanies ordinance 2536 was inadvertently left off the agenda. It will be on the next agenda. It is not time sensitive, so we have a little bit of time to do it. Miscellaneous. Mayor. Nate.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Now you're gonna put me in the hot seat.
Yes, I am.
I was just going to use some updates if you got questions first. All right. Got a couple announcements and updates. First, next Wednesday, September 17th, the water office will be closed after 12 that day. We do for the new training on the water meter technology. As some may know, they've started that project already. Down on the north end, they're working their way towards the south end of town to get everything changed out. Also, can't remember if it came up at the last meeting because it's come up so many times for me, but I'm sure you've heard when people ask why there are radar guns all over the city, and those are actually those are receivers that allow us to read those meters in real time and send a signal to the office. So that is not, it's not spying on any of your daily functions other than your water use. Also, South 3rd Street project's pretty much about wrapped up. We just need to put some striping down, given the traffic flow on that. It's going to require a double line. Fifth and Maple, you might have noticed there was already that brand new pavement was showing some signs of wear. And Code and them had determined that it's due to like the high volume of vehicles stopping in that spot. It's kind of moving, so they milled it down, and we were going to put in the
Fifth or ninth?
Ninth. Yeah, Fifth and Maple. All right, so Fifth Street and Maple Street project, I should say. On the Maple part of that, we decided that it's probably best to go with the concrete. Do you believe?
Well, we got them to come back and mill that section of Maple at night that was showing failure. And the last I heard, they said they should be in Saturday to pave it. Alan told me, or Brandon told me that he would let us know before they come. But they said they were going to be paving possibly Saturday, that section that they milled.
Yeah, and then also we're finalizing the riverfront park specs for the beach volleyball and playground equipment that is mostly funded by ODNR with a match. So I appreciate the increase, just in case we might see a few cost increase, but not significant on that project for the match that we have to provide, which is 25%. And I should have that out to ODNR here soon to get their approval so we can put those bids out to bid. Looking at a groundbreaking still for the ACGP, the infrastructure part of the riverfront project. I believe the governor's office has communicated probably be early, mid-October, so just be aware of that as you're scheduling things. Looking at Halloween, we've decided it's going to be October 31st, that Friday. And I know it's only September, but they start asking in
Trick or treat, you mean?
Yes, trick or treat. And then
What was the times? I'm sorry.
oh man, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Thursday, you switched it on me. Oh, I've told a few people the wrong thing now. 6 to 8. The Thursday the 30th. I don't know who gave that call. And then I believe cleanup, you may have that flyer on your desk. Those dates are set still in October. I believe it's the week of the 13th. That's coming up. And then
The what? Sorry.
the cleanup dates.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Is
The
what
week,
dates?
the week of the 13th, so what we've got on there. And then, if you haven't noticed, outside of the other things going on by the bridge, there is now a fenced-in dog park almost ready to go. So I'll be letting you know, and we're going to try to make this a groundbreaking event for the entire community, so to bring the dogs, since that's what we're there for in the first place. So it'll be a big announcement to everyone in advance. So that's why we haven't opened yet. We're still waiting on a few things that have been donated from other groups of the community to put there. I think
You may want to do a groundbreaking after the Ashland Bridge is open back yet. Just FYI. As someone that travels that way and has to wait for 45 minutes to
That is,
cross.
when is that over? Because I don't know that I've got the date.
Next week
is
the
next week, and
Green
the
Bridge.
bridge will be open to two-way traffic, is my understanding.
It's still going to be pretty congested.
Yeah, it'll be a mess.
And that's for another whole week
Yes,
of inspection or construction or whatever.
that's what I've read.
Okay.
Yeah, and they gave, I think it was a 30-day, which is what they also told us on ours, and if you remember, it didn't take but a week or so for people to start driving on it.
Thanks.
Oh, you didn't have anything? That you want?
Not for you.
Okay.
Do you have something? Yeah.
I was just going to follow up here and ask on the street lights. I know I'm kind of a broken record on the third street.
I would check on that. I'm going to be with Mike in the morning looking at a lot of different things.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nate.
John, this is August, make a motion to, receive and make part of the minutes, the, August 2025 financials.
Second. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Pierce.
Aye.
There's no other miscellaneous. I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session and discuss litigation. 3 different sets of executive session, all litigation. The first one with solicitor, mayor, finance director, city engineers, and environmental attorney. And then the last 2 with just solicitor, mayor, and finance director. With no action to follow.
Second.
Chris. Roll call.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Pierce.
Thank you. We are adjourned.